Hello and welcome to my seat by the fireplace. I have these late in the summer and this fall. I've been using a Dungaree pattern it's a free one on YouTube. I'll put a in the down below. I'll write where it is, what the YouTube video is that I took it from, and I really like making them. And I was making them out of old bed sheets and tablecloths that I found at the thrift store. And as will be sometimes, I really like these sets of sheets, this blue plaid. And I brought it home and cut it out, and the first time I washed it, it started to have a whole lot of fraying on it. So the very first thing I thought, well, I'm not gonna throw them out. I really like it. So I added this lace where it had frayed there. But then, I don't know if you can see how thin it is. I realized that the sheets really weren't worth very much at all. But I like sitting and just doing needlepoint and stitching. So I decided that what I was going to do is wherever a hole is found, I'm going to add some patches. And so on this side, you'll see that there was a hole here, and there started to be a hole. And what it is the white fabric runs. And then, so I sew on my patches, and I do some Sashiko or Borello, I don't know which it's called, stitches. And then when you launder them, they puff up, and I think it looks quite beautiful, quite frankly. And I envision someday this whole overalls to be covered in patches. So let me just show you the patches that have been done so far. Mainly, I started to do it just by doing the Sashiko over top of there's the run in that one, but I didn't like how that looked as well. And so this is a series of days and weeks of laundering that it's worn out where I sit on it. And you can see here this patch is going to go next. It's just about, I could probably poke my finger through there if I wanted to. And it went on the crotch area, and over there I put one. And then on the side seams where it takes some wear, it started to wear out, and I've added different patches. And I do different stitches on the different patches. And so I thought today I would take you, I'm a little annoyed all the wearing is happening on the back, and yes, I could just put patches on the front, but then the garment will not have chosen where it's going to wear out. But today I'm going to, and this is how this has been wearing out this sheet. It's been running up these lines of white. And so what I'm going to do today is I am going to add a patch here. And I will just take you along for that. All right, so in setting this up, I realized that it's fraying right here. And here is the one that let me see if I can get that up a little higher. So it's fraying here and here. So I have two patches that I'm going to add. One there and one like that. So once I decide what the patches are that I'm going to do, then I go around and I finger press the edges, and I use just a basting stitch to quickly baste in the edges of the blocks so that when I'm stitching, I'm not having to catch them. So I'm just going to go and do that right now. These patches also came from the thrift store. They were, someone had sat down and cut out these squares, and then didn't do anything with them. And aside from some orange ones, I'm not really an orange color. I don't like orange for myself. As a color, I love it, but on my body, I'm not real happy with it, so I don't use it very much. So I've been using them on these dungarees. And the other reason I do this basting stitch first is I found that because they're pre-cut, sometimes the run goes farther than what I think it did. So if I need to prepare more blocks, then I can. And I'll take out these stitches at the end once the block is sewn down. So these dungarees are, it's a set, you make a self-drafted pattern, and I've made, I think, 18 pairs, 6 for myself and the rest are for other people. I always get compliments on them. I've added lace to them and patches, and the fabric is all fabric that would have ended up in the landfill anyway, so it's just kind of fun, and I'm enjoying wearing them rather than wearing tights or blue jeans. They're just very comfortable. So it doesn't take long at all to stay stitch a block. Oops, don't pull that up. And what I will do now is go off screen and I will do the second one. So now, armed with my basted stitches, my mending area, my areas to be mended, my thrifted yarn. I don't know what type of yarn this is. It's got a shine to it. But it came all bunched up. It has some stains on it, but you'll never notice that on my dungarees, that's for sure. My favorite Sashiko needle, and you know it's my favorite because it's bent, or I know it's my favorite, and my thimble. This is a YouTube video as well. This is red leather. I will link that video below as well on how to make one of those if you're interested. It just protects your hands as you're pushing through your needle. So I'm going to thread my needle up and get ready to go. So now that I've gone all the way across in one direction, for this block, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do X's this way. So I'm going to come back here, and right now I'm stitching through the tablecloth, a patch and new patch. And so this is where you can see how, how I use the, so I have that gripped into the thimble, and I'm using it to punch down with. And so I punch down, then I use my hand. I use this hand with the, to push the fabric on, and then I stab the fabric with the needle. Now you could just leave it with the straight stitches all the way across, but the more you add, the stronger the patch is. So I've gone this way, and now I'm going to, I think I'm going to come down and just go back down this way. Instead of making X's, I'm just going to make diagonal lines going this way, sorry. And I'm going to continue to go back and forth. And I'm going to just go back and forth and make a few stitches here to knot it, so on the top part, so there aren't knots down by my skin. So I finished doing this block, and as you can see, we've got the up and down going this way, and then we've got the triangles going across this way. And then halfway I have them going this way, and there they are there. So that's one. I like this pattern and I use it a lot. This block here, I started at the outside. It's been washed, so it's puffy, and I went around, and then I just kept going around until you get into the center. So you can see where I just went around and around. It's a square actually, around. And then where this one here, where I have the denim on the other side, this is just random stitching that I've done. So on this block, I created a large grid, and inside that large grid I put X's. This one is just stars. This is a large grid again, and this one here is a large grid going on right angles with stitches going across. So those are some of the stitches that I've used. Now I'm going to do something I've not done before. Need to find where it needs to be patched. So I has, as you can see, I have put semicircles on here. I'm going to stitch in them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this. I have to go under my fabric here. As I said, it's not easy working with clothing because you're always working around the seams. So let me get this. So here is where the repair is needed, and I'm going to add the block here, and I'm going to just pin it in place. And now I'm going to thread up, and I'm going to start going. So what I will do is I will go around the larger one, and then I'll do the smaller one and the inside one. Now this time I'm going to bury my so I get my hand under there again. So this time I'm going to bury my knot under the patch. Again, I don't know if this is kosher, but it's what I'm doing. So I need to bring my thread all the way over to here, which is about there on that block. So I'm just going to weave it through here. And now it's getting a little tougher, so I'm going to use my thimble here. And I think that's where I might have it. Yep, that's good. So again, I'm going to apologize that I'm having to hold the fabric part way up. So this is a friction erasing pen. So once it's washed, it will be completely undone. And using my thimble to jab the needle through the 2 layers of fabric there, I'm going to follow this curve all the way around. And you start to see the arch appearing here. I'm going to come up as close to that edge as I can so that I'm tacking it down. And now I'm going to come up on this line here. And I'm going to continue doing this for the entire block, and I'll bring you back when I'm finished. All right, so I am done, and here I've got the waves happening on this block, and I've pulled out the stitching. So here are the two Sashiko patches that I've put in. I'll be interested to see how this one puffs up. So thank you for spending some time with me by my by the fire here. I will put a link to how to make this thimble, and I hope you have a great day. Bye now.